Right now on the WHAS11 night team, all new at 11. He has reported to prison. We'll tell you where former Metro Police Detective Brett Hankison is being held to serve nearly 3 years in the Breonna Taylor case. Plus, the developing story. Child killer Ron Exantis will be sent back to Kentucky by the state of Florida. Why he was arrested in Florida and his new charges. And then all news since 6, fighting Louisville's violent crime.
I know the community wants to be able to get out and walk without being afraid.
Plus, the WHAS 11 night team is back at Fort Knox tonight.
We have people offer us to pay the meal forward, but I told them it's okay for now, you know, we can hold on.
You're going to meet this food truck owner, helping those on the post hit hard by the government shutdown. One code word at a time. Right now on the WHAS 11 night team. We are following two big breaking stories first tonight on the WHAS 11 night team for you, and good to be with you on this Thursday evening. Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Prophet. He's spending his first night in prison. Former Louisville Metro Police Detective Brett Hankison is now serving his nearly 3-year-long sentence, 33 months. Hankison today reported to FCI Fort Dix in New Jersey. It's a low-security federal prison with just over 4,000 total male inmates. He was convicted of violating Breonna Taylor's civil rights back in 2020 for his role the night Metro Police shot and killed Taylor in her apartment. Once he completes his 33-month sentence, he will serve 3 years of supervised release. Separately, by the way, CNN and ABC7 in New York are reporting tonight that rapper Sean Diddy Combs is also asked to serve his time at the very same place for his recent conviction on 2 prostitution-related charges. And now to our other late developing story today. Child killer Ron Exantis will soon be sent back to Kentucky by the state of Florida, where he was arrested today. He was released from prison early in Kentucky and then sent to Florida for his supervised release. In 2015, Exantis killed 6-year-old Logan Tipton in Versailles, Kentucky, and attacked 2 other members of his family in a random killing there. A jury found him not guilty by reason of insanity. They did find him guilty, though, of the assault and injury and the attack on the rest of his family. Now, the Attorney General of Florida confirming that he was in Marion County, Florida, but failed to register as a convicted felon. Officers located Exantis and arrested him at a home at 4:39 this afternoon. Just last week, after serving less than half of his 20-year sentence in Kentucky, he was placed on parole and released from custody. Exantis is being held with no bond. The Florida Attorney General posted to social media saying state officials are now working to send him right back to Kentucky. Marion County Sheriff Billy Woods also put out a statement about this, saying, quote, "The fact that he was living right next to an elementary school is even more repulsive. I have no tolerance for this type of dangerous person flaunting our laws and thinking he would hide out in our county." End quote from the Marion County, Florida Sheriff. And related to this very case, Kentucky State Police gave more information on the threats that have been made against members of the Kentucky Parole Board involved in this case. Because of his Exantis' early release, the Parole Board received violent threats. Now, Kentucky State Police say they are working with federal agencies to investigate.
We're not going to tolerate it. It is not okay. So do not make a threat of violence toward anybody. We understand people have First Amendment rights, and we're going to support those rights. But making threats of violence is not a protected form of speech or expression.
The parole board voted unanimously not to release Exantis. They wanted him to stay in prison, but current Kentucky law allowed his release because he was only convicted of assault. Now to the stunning arrest of a 15-year-old boy in Louisville. The 15-year-old is charged with murder after a man was shot and killed in Louisville's Russell neighborhood. The shooting happened just after 7 o'clock on the night of September 28th near the intersection of West Market Street and Dr. W.J. Hodge Street. The teenager was arrested yesterday. He's charged with murder and possession of a handgun by a minor. Meantime, all new tonight, Louisville's Metro Police Chief Paul Humphrey speaking with community members at the YMCA off West Broadway about public safety. LMPD took note of locations where people said that there were issues with crimes like drug dealing and violence. WHAS 11 night team's Clarice Shaley and photojournalist Aspen Hester heard their concerns.
And I'd like to be able to do something anything to protect our kids.
The community and the chief of Louisville Metro Police, Paul Humphrey, brought together in one room.
I appreciate that you all are here. These are the conversations that we need to have.
Talking public safety in neighborhoods from Parkland in the west to Clifton Heights in the east.
My issue is when an individual has a mental problem, can go to stands and buy a 9mm.
Talking about gun restrictions, Councilman Ken Herndon has a resolution asking lawmakers to pass law allowing municipalities to create restrictions on guns, which currently isn't allowed. They mentioned other safety concerns in the neighborhoods.
We have all kinds of people. We done had murders. We have drug dealers.
Somebody keeping hell.
Yeah, I'm not walking down I don't feel safe.
But a big point of the conversation was teen violence. The community has been rocked by it. Bus stop shootings shook the community right at the beginning of the school year. One of those shootings killed a mother. Chief Humphrey on the teen violence issue.
Just recently, we locked up a juvenile for a homicide who had, within the last 2 years, committed another homicide and had already been convicted of. But he's out on the street killing another person. Like that shouldn't happen.
I asked Chief Humphrey to clarify the case he was speaking about, and he declined. When it comes to the issue of teen violence, there are different ideas on how to solve the issue.
You lock them up and then what? There's no program.
We must meet the need of the most basic needs of the family. We were so quick to want to blame the parents.
Visitors are grateful for the chance to share concerns with top leaders of LMPD.
And I hope he puts his feet on the pavement and gets things done. I want a safer community. I know the community wants to be able to get out and walk without being afraid.
They support police in bringing safety back to their neighborhoods. Off West Broadway, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 1119 on your side.
And they talk traffic concerns like drivers running stoplights and driving on the wrong side of the road. Chief Humphrey said red light automatic camera ticketing is not allowed in Kentucky, but LMPD is working with lawmakers to bring changes to that in the upcoming session. Another developing story, the Israeli government approving the first phase of the ceasefire deal, triggering the next series of steps under this new deal. The Israeli Defense Forces will withdraw and redeploy troops to agreed upon lines within 24 hours. Once this happens, the IDF will remain in control of more than 50% of Gaza during this phase of the deal. Within 72 hours after the IDF completes redeployment to the agreed-upon borders, all hostages, living and dead, will be released and returned to Israel. In exchange, more than 1,000 Palestinian prisoners will also be released. That includes 250 prisoners and detainees held in the custody of the Israeli prison sentence, along with 1,700 residents of the Gaza Strip who were not involved with the October 7, 2023 attacks, but were arrested right afterwards. And right now, we want to switch you live to a live look here at the U.S. Capitol in Washington as we are now wrapping up the 9th day of the government shutdown as we get closer to midnight tonight. Millions of Americans are still forced to work without pay, yet Congress is still as divided as ever on the proper steps to end this shutdown. Today, the U.S. Senate once again failed to pass a GOP funding bill, but will be in session again tomorrow. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul voted against the bill, breaking from his party again. The IRS also walked back on their memo promising their furloughed employees back pay. The IRS announcing yesterday they will be furloughing half of their workforce and that most IRS operations are closed. President Donald Trump continues to blame Democrats for the shutdown, saying that they have, quote, lost their way. So as the government shutdown continues, a Vietnamese food truck within the boundaries of the Fort Knox Army Post is offering a free meal to soldiers if they need it. The owner, an Army veteran himself, says he wants to take care of his much bigger military family. WHAS 1119's Jose Alonso tells us how he's doing it with certain code words.
We bring something unique, and healthy, homemade. It's a traditional Vietnamese food, and we make everything from scratch.
Owner of General Pho Vietnamese Kitchen, Van Tran serves food to paying military members within the boundaries of the Fort Knox Army Post.
We're a big family, big community, so that we always be there for each other, just like they have been for us.
An Army veteran himself Tran served for 20+ years and endured the anxiety of the last government shutdown. He's not afraid to display his service on his food truck. Tran says the Fort Knox and Radcliffe communities have supported him so much that he wants to pay it forward and help any soldier on the Army post who may be impacted by the federal government shutdown.
We have food. Well, what we can do, we can offer a meal for a service member if they need to. You know, they can come by, just tell us the code, cover me, you know, while I move. So that's why we always say, I got you covered, buddy. You know, so the same thing in this scenario, what happened during this period of time, you know, we get them back.
A free meal to personnel amid financial uncertainty on what's taking place in Washington, D.C. Although Tran is working on remodeling this old tattoo shop to be his future brick and mortar location, he says it can wait if it means making sure a soldier is fed.
We don't have anybody take advantage of that yet, but we always open to offer, but we have people offer us to pay the meal forward. But I told them, it's okay for now, you know, we can hold on, we can take care of the soldier if they come for us, just say that code.
A military mindset for this long-standing Kentucky military community. In Fort Knox and Radcliffe, Jose Alonso, WHAS11 Night Team on your side.
We did ask if we could film Tran's business within the Army post today. That's when we learned that the government shutdown has also closed the Fort Knox Public Affairs Office. Today, we also talked to Kentucky Republicans on Capitol Hill about the government shutdown. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul and Congressman Brett Guthrie talked about where negotiations stand with Democrats on those health insurance tax credits. And Guthrie focused on the shutdown's impact on Kentucky's military service members.
I think there are quiet talks about the negotiations that will ensue when the government opens up. I think Republicans are pretty rock solid that we're not going to negotiate until the government is open.
My hope and prayer is that we get this government open. Our American men and women in military uniforms, Fort Knox is in your listening areas, in my district, they won't get paid on October the 15th if we don't get this government open in the next few days.
Now, we've heard President Trump suggest the possibility that some federal workers, specifically those furloughed, may not get their back pay even after the shutdown is over. Today, both Rand Paul and Brett Guthrie told us they expect all federal employees to get paid. Well, you know her name for sure. She has already asked for your vote once before in the race for the U.S. Senate in Kentucky. After losing, she's trying again. Democrat Amy McGrath telling us today that one of her top priorities if elected would be to get rid of tariffs and fight them.
It's hurting our bourbon industry. It's hurting our farmers. And so to be able to look around and say, well, this isn't what we voted for. Don't you want somebody to be able to stand up and say, hey, Mr. President, this hurts our state. Let's not do this.
Also very anti-tariff is Kentucky Senator Republican Rand Paul. We asked him about McGrath's chances this time around. Short answer, he doesn't think the odds are in her favor.
I think if that's the best candidate the Democrats can go forward, someone who really lost twice and was crushed the last time in the Senate race, I don't suspect she'll do very well this time. Kentucky's become a very Republican state.
McGrath lost to Mitch McConnell by around 20 points in 2020, even after raising millions of dollars. Now she joins a growing list of Democratic candidates running for the seat. The list right now includes State Representative Pamela Stevenson of Louisville, attorney and former Secret Service agent Logan Forsythe, and former CIA officer and military veteran Joel Willett, who lives in Louisville. The high-profile Republicans in the Senate race for the Republican primary are former Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron, Kentucky Congressman Andy Barr, and Lexington businessman Nate Morris. The former abortion clinic in downtown Louisville is set for demolition. We've got the new details of what's in store for the site and the new development coming up next.
And it was a beautiful fall day across Kentucky, and our high temperatures only topped out in the 60s. Tonight, trending even chillier than last night. I'll let you know just how low those temperatures will drop. That's coming up after the break. Today's Kentucky Lottery jackpots: Mega Millions, $575 million, Powerball, $244 million.
The Kentucky Lottery, funding education for over 1 million Kentucky students.